Thank you, Aaron and the home team. Let's give them another round of applause. Did you write any of those songs that we did today?
Come on, don't you know you walk with God?
Walk with God, that was Aaron. Aaron's writing like a song a week. I don't know if as kind of a spiritual practice. And we get to benefit from it. So Seattle Unity's theme for 2017 is the transformational journey. And one of the ways that we are transformed is by understanding and applying spiritual laws in our lives. And so we've been looking at, the unity principles, God within, God is good, the law of mind action, prayer and meditation. And then there's subsets of these. And so one of them that I want to focus on today is the spiritual principle of giving and receiving and of generosity. Because, this is really kind of a very generous season. When you look at the trees and they're just exploding with color, and although the fruit is just beginning, it's not ready yet, it's just this abundance of life that is all around us. And so we can learn so much from the generosity of nature. Khalil Gibran said that I would give, but only to the deserving. He said, the trees in your orchards say not so, because they give that they may live. So we get this whole idea of giving and generosity is what keeps us alive. Not only just keeps us alive, but, engages us and allows us to be a part of the whole of this circulation of this wonderful life and this movement. And yet, even though we know this is a principle, do we not have a tendency to want to hold on and not only hold on to what we already have, but sometimes we want to possess even more, right? The one with the most toys wins. Isn't that used to be a slogan maybe in the 80s? I don't know. So Jesus spoke to it and he said it this way. He said, give and it will be given. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. With the measure you give, it will be given back to you. So this is the basic law of karma, which we all understand, that if I give, whatever I give is what I receive in return. So if there is something that is lacking in my life, I know that that is what I need to give. So if we're lacking love, then we need to give love. If we're lacking money, then we need to give money. If we're lacking understanding, we need to give understanding. And it seems backwards, but that's spiritual law, right? That's how it works. It seems like, wait a minute, it's backwards, but when we think about as within, so without, of course, we would recognize that whatever it is we wish to receive is what we need to give. So giving leads to transformation, because when we release, we make room for something new to come into our lives, right? We're all in agreement with that. And so, again, it being May and spring, this is a great time for spring cleaning, right? To clear out all the cobwebs, to dust off all that furniture that you have outside. And granted, in Seattle, it's still raining, and we're still waiting a little bit, but it's time to start clearing out things. It's a great season for that. And to begin to clear clutter, because we know that, again, when we do that we're creating space for something more to come into our lives. And possessions have a way of multiplying, don't they? As I know, as much as I feel like I keep giving away, it's like, wow, more keeps coming in. How many of you have had to clear out your parents' homes when they had to move into an assisted living or when they passed? Quite a few. So you know what I had, when my parents passed, I had 30 years of stuff. And I remember my mom had redone her kitchen like a few years before she died. So I said, Mom, before you put everything back, let me help you go through everything to make sure that what you have in here is what you're using. So, keep, get rid of, keep, get rid of, keep, get rid of. So that things would actually fit in the drawers. I grew up in a house where you had to pull a drawer open because there was so much stuff in it. So we spent a couple hours doing this, And I had the boxes, and my dad came home and he goes, "What are you guys doing?" And I said, "Well, we're trimming down so that the stuff that's in the kitchen is actually being used." And he started taking things out of the box and putting them back in the cabinets and in the drawers. And I said, "Okay, so what if we put it in the basement, and then if you need it, you'll know that it's there?" And he said, "Fine." Well, when he died 10 years later, guess where all that stuff still was? It was still in the basement. And how many of us do the same thing, right? And how many times have you yourself or someone you've loved is clearing out a closet or a drawer or a room, and you go, "Man, I am really tired. That was exhausting." I mean, what's so exhausting? You have to pick up stuff and move it, right? But there's this energy that is attached to our possessions, and particularly if they belong to our parents or our kids or our grandparents or somebody special, our possessions begin to have weight to them. They have emotional weight, and so of course it's exhausting to try to begin to release these things. And yet, although our possessions can be a link to the past, they can also keep us stuck in the past because of not only the emotional weight, but because it is energy that gets stuck and blocks. An example, or a biblical example, is Lot's wife, right? We all know what happened to Lot's wife. So Lot and his family were told that they had to leave Sodom and Gomorrah, and as they were leaving, they said, God said, "Whatever you do, don't look back. Don't." So they're leaving the town, they hear all this stuff going on behind them, and what does Lot's wife do? She turns around and she looks back, and when she looks back, she turns into a pillar of salt. When we look back too much, when we stare too much into the past, when we hold on to too much in the past, we too crystallize, yeah? We turn into a pillar of salt in a way, and it's very difficult to begin to move forward. So there's this process in releasing and letting go. Again, we look at the trees. It's part of life. Jesus said it this way when he said, "Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth where moths and vermin destroy and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart is also." So it's almost like we're taking it to another level, another step. It's like give and you will receive. Okay, so now I got the law of karma. I understand that. And then it's like, okay, so where am I putting my energy and where am I directing it? Because if it's just with the possessions, they're going to rot. They're going to fall apart. Something's going to happen to them. But is my heart in the right place? Because where our hearts are is where our treasure really lies. Amen. So the practice of generosity is part of the foundation of Buddhism. And Buddhists have a lot of words for generosity in the way that Eskimos have a lot of words for the snow. How come we don't have a lot of words for rain? That's what I was wondering. Rain's an awful lot here. We should have like at least 15 words for rain. So 2 words that the Buddhists have for generosity. One is dana. And dana simply means the distribution of gifts. So dana is, again, give and it will be given to you. It's the law of karma. It is cause and effect. So the first word, one of the words for generosity in Buddhism is dana. It's giving. I'm giving gifts. I'm giving gifts. The second word for generosity is Caga. And Caga describes the state of mind of a generous giver. So Caga is the state of mind. It creates a rich environment for meditation. And dana is basically what you do. So you can give gifts, but without a generous mind and heart, right? And when we have a generous mind and heart, it's, that's, again, where is your treasure? Where is your treasure? Jacqueline Kramee said that Buddhism is mostly concerned with our state of mind. Ultimately, generosity in Buddhism is about non-attachment and loving kindness. The act of generous giving is a means to that end. It is through giving with a kind, loving heart that we develop our capacity to let go as we become freer, lighter, and happier. So we see another level to giving, right? So we've given, it will be given, dana, yeah, karma. Caga, the state of mind. And then we have the law, the non-attachment, right? And because ultimately, we have to let go of these bodies, which is like the biggest thing we have to let go of. So why not practice with the stuff in your closet, right? You know, to begin this non-attachment, to be freer, to be lighter, to be willing to let go and to be fully present in the moment. Another form of giving is when we know that we have to consciously let go of something that we love in order for the new to enter. So how many of you have loved your job, but you were offered a better job someplace else, and so you had to move or change positions, and it's saying goodbye to something and maybe people that you love in order to bring in something new, right? And as a community, that's what we're doing right now. You know, we are taking a step toward transforming our building, transforming our community, transforming our ministry. And so we're beginning to take the steps of releasing the building and saying goodbye. Now, we don't have to do it for at least another year, but we need to begin that process now because we have a lot of prayers said in here. We've had a lot of tears shed in here. We've had a lot of prayers and songs and confidences shared in this place. We've heard wisdom from so many teachers for the last 50, 60 years, the people that have stood on this stage. And that's painful to say goodbye to that. And we're going to have lots of ways for you to engage in that. We're going to have you blessing of the different rooms throughout the year. So you can go to the library and thank it and bless it. Thank the sanctuary. We're going to have stories that will be videoed that you can share, and lots of other ways that we engage, because it's an important process in releasing and letting go, that we have to say goodbye so that we can say hello, right? I think it was Richard Bach who said, you have to give up what you are to make room for what you might become. You have to give up what you are so that you can be what lies next. So we have to give this up so that we can step into what is next for us. And it's true in our personal lives as well. We're constantly being called to give up something so that we can transform into the next phase of our lives and of who we are. So this can be exciting, this can be scary, and it can be fun. It can be all of the above wrapped into one, and we're going to make it a celebration as well. Khalil Gibran also said, "You give little when you give of your possessions. It is when you give of yourself that you truly give." And the longer I live, the more I understand that we're connected in ways that go beyond gravity, that go beyond the left brain, that go beyond even understanding. So as I said earlier, my 14-year-old dog made her transition this week. And 14 years is a long time. I was talking to Dee Dee, her dog was 17. You know, when you have a pet who's around for that long, they become a part of your being. I think they're our daemons. I really believe our animals are our daemons. They're like these little angelic beings that become a part of who we are and a part of our consciousness. And you know, they're witnesses to our lives, right? Because they're there every single day. And one of the things I've noticed since Gio died is how many times a day I said her name. I must have said her name 100. Gio, do you want something to eat? Gio, go out. Gio, over. Gio, Gio, Gio. It's one of the reasons that I try to name my animals after gods and goddesses, because then I know I'm going to be saying the name a lot, so I want to call in. So I've had Eli, I've got Hari, I've got Krishna. You know, I had Havala. Havala is a name of praise. Gio named herself because I dreamed it. It means whatever, the earth or rocks, which, you know, so I guess I was blessing the earth every time I said her name. But a dog teaches us that they give of themselves. It's what Gibran said. It's when you give of yourself is when you truly give. And for me, I took her with me, as you know, everywhere. I brought her here. Many of you held her in your lap when I taught a class, or for counseling, she would sit in your lap. I had a little bag that I used to take, because she's only 9-10 pounds. I used to take her with me everywhere, grocery stores, movie theaters, restaurants, and I put her in a bag, and as long as I didn't draw attention to it, nobody knew she was there. So I never said, oh, I have a dog. It was just like, I have an ugly purse, that's all. And there was one time we were at the movie theater, and I had unzipped it so she could sit up, and it was like James Bond. It was one of those movies where you're really engaged, and all of a sudden I heard her tags go clink, 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 and I looked down and I saw the people in the row with their legs going up as something went under them, and she was eating the popcorn as she went down. So I jumped on the floor and I crawled on all fours to go get her with these and put her back in the bag. There was another time we were at P.F. Chang's and a group of people, and we had a happy hour. They had spare ribs, and so we would eat them, and then I put them in her bag so she could finish the bone. And then I put them back on the plate, and they were stripped clean. And the waitress would come and go, wow, you guys really like those ribs. So anyway, it's an adjustment. It's a letting go. It's a releasing, as it is with any death, whether it be our loved ones, our humans, our four-legged friends. And Rudyard Kipling, who wrote The Jungle Book, wrote a piece called The Power of a Dog. But before that, there was also an article in Psychology Today that said, Getting Over Rover, Why the Loss of a Dog Could Be Devastating. Psychologist Julie Axelrod pointed out that the loss of a dog is so painful because we're not losing just one thing. We experience multiple losses at the same time. We may be losing our primary companion, a source of unconditional love, a life witness who provides security and comfort to us, and maybe even a protege whom we mentor like a child. The loss of a dog seriously disrupts your daily routine even more profoundly than the loss of most friends and relatives, and changes in lifestyle and routine are a primary source of stress. So they're always there. That's the point. It's just that they're always there. They're always witnessing. They're always giving you their unconditional love. So Rudyard Kipling said this: when the 14 years which nature permits are closing in asthma or tumor or fits, and the vet's unspoken prescription runs to lethal chambers or loaded guns, very visual, then you will find it's your own affair, but you've given your heart to a dog to tear. When the body that lived at your single will, with its whimper of welcome, is stilled, how still? When the spirit that answered your every mood is gone, wherever it goes, for good, you will discover how much you care and will give your heart to a dog to tear. When I had to take Gio in to the vet as she passed, because she started to be in pain, and I didn't want her to suffer. And after we did the whole thing, we have a wonderful vet. He's this wonderful East Indian man, and he just stood with us, and he just said, I'm going to stand with you now for 10 minutes, and we're going to be here for 10 minutes. And then after the 10 minutes, he said, she's crossed over the bridge. She's gone. She's crossed over the bridge. And it was just such a very loving and compassionate experience. So the truth is that even in our brokenheartedness, it creates room, doesn't it? And who wants to go through a brokenhearted? Nobody. But we all do it because we're in these bodies, we're in this material realm, and it is part of life, isn't it? It's the releasing, it's the letting go, and there's things that we would choose not to release and let go, and even so, it opens and creates space. So I invite you to enjoy May and spring. And if you haven't done your spring cleaning yet, get out there and do your spring cleaning. Begin to clear the clutter, recognizing that your possessions have emotional weight. And that as wonderful as that is to have some things that connect us, they can also turn us into a pillar of salt. They can keep us stuck, and they can keep us blocked. And so even if, what's the word? If you only do one drawer, do one drawer. Begin the energy to start moving. As we move forward in this month, we're going to practice dana, the distribution of gifts, but also Caga, the attitude of kindness and loving. So today, as a community, we're taking a step forward, a step forward in our transformation, a step closer also, though, to releasing and saying goodbye to this physical space. But it's necessary in order for us to transform, because you have to give up who you are for what you might become. And may what you become, may what we become be this great light and complete transformation of good and love and kindness and Caga. And it is so. Amen.